Today we're headed back to our tiny house garden project to discuss plants and putting a magical touch on things. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned as we garden smart.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs. Our goal is to leave you free to just enjoy your garden. Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs can be found at local garden centers across the country.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 80 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
The Jaguar F-Pace.
It goes without saying that plants are the star of the show, and finding the right selections and combinations of plants is what makes a garden truly sing. We have the pleasure of meeting today with plantswoman Delilah Onofre from Suntory to discuss some amazing new plants and how to use them in this design. Delilah, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Yes, always nice to be in Athens. I always come here for the UGA trails, and now there's this fantastic tiny house. As soon as I heard about it, I'm like, yeah, I gotta check it out.
Okay, awesome. I've always been really fascinated with the process of bringing a new cultivar to market, and almost no one in the world does a better job than Suntory. It's just amazing how prolific your program is, and I'd like for you to kind of talk through the process of starting with seedlings and then launching new cultivars, and how does all that work?
So it all started with the Surfinia petunias as a flagship brand 30 years ago. We're always trying to unlock that new color that maybe people say it's impossible, but we have some mandavillas that are in shades of yellow, and now we have one called Bluephoria. So always unlocking the potential, I would say, of what's possible or even rethinking a genus entirely.
There's some wonderful plant selections that you've made for Victoria's garden, and I'd like for you to just talk us through each one that was selected for this design.
Petunias are excellent
Sure.
for people getting started, so they can be in full sun. And one of my favorite varieties is the Surfinia Heavenly Blue, where you get this multi-tonal effect of really nice shades of sky blue, and it'll just be very beautiful and controlled as it grows and expands. And the deep red's been a top seller for a long time. It's hard to breed reds that don't fade or get unsightly as the season goes on, and that's the reason these two are top sellers.
Let's talk about some of the other plants that you've selected. You've got Escavilla, which is it's an amazing plant that I think too few people know about.
Yes, so those are bred in Australia. The Sardiva scaevolas, they are called fan flowers because the blooms are fan-shaped. So we have an excellent series of many colors ranging from shades of blue, pink, purple, and white. And so they are also proven in Georgia. They are Classic City Awards winner at University of Georgia. Excellent to be planted in masses in the bed, or even mixing 3 colors together to make a really easy.
You've also got some freesia in this planting, which I think is a wonderful tropical touch. I love those plants that actually do have some hardiness but give you that really lush tropical look, and that's a great selection.
Yeah, in fact, they're not in flower now, but the angel earrings fuchsia, they will dangle. They'll be white and red and be kind of upright, so that'll look really pretty in the center. And they've also been selected for heat tolerance, where people usually think of fuchsia for early spring. Actually, even in my home in Ohio, I was shocked at how cold tolerant it is. Middle of October, they still looked amazing.
Wow, it's a very, very versatile plant.
Yeah.
And of course, down here in the Southeast, heat tolerance is at the very, very top of the list of things that we're concerned about. And of course, it just seems like the summers are getting hotter and drier. And so much of the effort of the breeding program behind these plants is certainly focused on how do we help the home gardener succeed with annuals. And I think you've done a wonderful job with this program. Victoria, I know that you're newish to gardening, and this is so exciting.
Uh-huh.
I want you to, since we've got the Suntory plant expert here, I wonder if there were any questions you had about the care and maintenance of your plants, or what would you like to know to be the most successful with them?
Watering for me has been an issue, and it's under more control because these are in pots. But is there anything the plants, if I've neglected them, do they need fertilizing, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I would say with the leaf yellowing, perhaps that they could benefit from yes, a jolt of fertilizer. I know when people first do the planting, they say, well, add some slow release granules, but then every 2 weeks with the well-balanced water soluble, like petunias especially, get hungry, and that's a sign right there.
I was surprised to get these in the mail, and they've done well, but how long is it safe to keep them?
Yeah, so as soon as you can, definitely in less than a week or a few days. Yeah, so that the plants can recover, because it is stress to be in the box. The sooner they can recover and get into their new home, the better.
Excellent. Well, Delilah, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your knowledge. And of course, we're so much enjoying these wonderful plants. Thank you. Once we have our plants in the ground, the most important nutrient of all is water. Getting the right amount to our plants at the right time is so important to the survival of our new planting. Ron Greening is an expert in irrigation, and he's here to help Victoria know what she needs to understand to keep all of her plants thriving. Ron, welcome to the show. Victoria, thanks so much for joining us. And we're talking about water. People oftentimes ask me, what is the most important nutrient for plants? It's water. We can talk about NPK, we can talk about micronutrients, but it really is water. And I'm so glad that we have you here today to educate us on water. One question that we get from viewers all the time is, how much water do plants need? And are there ways for us to measure that? Are there ways for us to think about how do we appropriately water plants?
Well, and I think that's a great question, because the first thing you have to understand is how much water is coming out of the end of your garden hose. Do you really know? Because if you don't understand how much water you're placing on the plant. So what we would recommend is that you take a container of a known quantity, a watering can that's half a gallon, and take the garden hose that you're going to be water with and the device you're going to water with, and measure over a period of time how much water comes out. If you have a small 4-inch container, and that's what the plant came in, you find out that out of the end of your garden hose comes 8 gallons a minute, it will take less than 3 seconds to fill that up. So if you're standing in your garden and you're going 1001, 1002, 1003, that's all the water that root mass needs. Now, it's really important where you put the water as well. And we know that as a horticulturalist, you understand that roots are hydrotropic, which means they're going to follow the water. Healthy plants have deep roots because the soil farther down doesn't get dry, and it holds moisture and it stays cool. So you want the roots to grow deeply, so when the soil on the top does get hot and it does dry out, those plants still have access to moisture. So by soaking the plant at the root zone, it's much better for the plant. It's much more efficient use of water than it is to sprinkle over the surface and have it dry out and evaporate away. So you get a much healthier root zone and a much healthier root ball, and plants that are more healthy and drought resistant because they don't dry out when the soil dries out.
Right. So your advice for Victoria here would be maybe don't water as often, but when you do water, give it more water so the
Early,
water goes
yes.
deeper in and it draws the roots down to where they're more protected.
By placing the water at the plant, you're going to conserve water and put it where it needs to be. Over time, sometimes the root zone needs to dry out because otherwise you get root rot, you get fungus, you get all kinds of problems with the plant when you overwater.
Ron, many American homes are equipped with in-ground irrigation systems, which definitely do a great job of getting everything wet. They don't necessarily do a great job of understanding the individual needs the plants might have. And there are many different ways that we can water that I think are a better use of water than those systems, more accurate, and keep in mind the needs of the plant. Let's talk about different options we have from a standpoint of how to more accurately water the plants in our garden.
Well, I like to talk about toolbox. You know, what we use to water our tools, just like if we were doing any other home improvement. And consumers can have an assortment of tools. Some of them are general use tools, like a pliers or a hammer. But when you start to get to specialized jobs, you need special tools. So an irrigation system, as you said, can put water all over the place. But are you putting the right amount of water, as we've been talking about, in the right place?
Right.
And that's really the use of the tools. And they can be as specialized if you're an avid gardener and you want to raise your plants from seed. You may just need a nozzle that creates half a gallon of mist just to get the seeds wet to germinate. Or if we're in a yard like this, we want to put the water at the base of the plant, not all over the mulch, because the mulch doesn't grow. So by utilizing the correct tools, we can get that water in the volume we want in the place we want it.
Right.
So there are lots of tools. Hand watering is one of them. We invented this back in the 40s. We call it the rain wand. Generically, people call it a water wand, and it's a shower head that produces a flow of water that you put at the base of the plant. So if we want to water an individual plant, and we talked about how much water comes out of here, I know that this plant may have come in a 4-inch container. I can go 1001, 1002, 1003, and that's plenty of water for that small plant. I've just soaked the area surrounding the root ball, and that water's naturally going to go down into the soil, and I haven't watered the rest of this bed. So I'm placing the water where it needs to be. The other advantage I have when I do that is I'm looking at the plant. So I go, wow, it looks like there's disease on that. That one looks like it's being eaten by a bug. I'm literally surveying the yard as I water. So it makes me look at the entire garden. I have an irrigation system and it comes on automatically at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't see any of that. And then 2 weeks later, I walk out and go, what's going on with my plants? And everything's gotten watered the same amount. The succulents that didn't need water got watered. The things that needed a lot of water may not have gotten enough water. And all of that water gets sprayed on the surface and doesn't soak in.
Yeah, it's one of the key factors to having success with plants. Victoria's landscape here, her garden is a new installation, and that's a tricky time for plants. So there can be transplant shock. There can be, of course, a lot of plants with varying water needs. We see that in this design. It's not uncommon. You have plants that want a lot of water planted next to plants that want just a little bit of water, and that's where a dumb system, if you will, just a sprinkler running, it doesn't know that. So we need to get the gardener involved in the act of gardening when it comes to watering.
That's absolutely correct. Now there are other tools that you can use. We have some soaker hose laid out here, and again, by its definition, it's designed to slowly emit water everywhere. Imagine that, a hose that leaks, but leaks evenly. And what can happen then is, if we need to water during a hot day, a sprinkler system sprays the water up in the air, and the sun helps evaporate it, and the wind blows it away, and it doesn't go where it needs to be. But a low profile design like a soaker hose, these weep, the water goes into the soil and it gets absorbed. And again, you're soaking the landscape instead of spraying it or sprinkling it. And it's a much more efficient use of water. A soaker hose like this will weep about 2.5 gallons over the 50 feet of hose in a minute. So that's 2.5 milk jugs per minute that comes out of this lay of hose. So you run it about 30-40 minutes. You have multiple gallons coming out each minute, and you're getting the soil wet, but it's not broadcasting it everywhere. the water will be absorbed in the soil and naturally spread out about 18 inches either side of this. So you're actually wetting the whole bed. You're not just watering that little strip, but the water's going to spread out because the soil has osmotic pressure and will draw that water out to where the soil is dry. So you're efficiently using the water, not running your water bill up. You're not putting water where it doesn't need to be. And then the plants have that moisture available to take up and live.
All right, go forth and garden.
Whoa, yes.
Jim Moneyhunt is the flower garden curator with the State Botanical Garden of Georgia, and he joins us to discuss heirloom roses and how to care for them. Jim, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Victoria has selected some really, really nice heirloom roses for her garden, and we are blessed to have a rose expert here with us to tell us everything she needs to know about having success with roses. Jim, I'd like for you to start by talking about the cultivars that have been selected and what you think that makes them special.
So y'all selected some really neat cultivars in my opinion. All four of them are modern roses, meaning that they were bred after 1867. They were developed mostly in the latter part of the 20th century. But Dance in the Dark is an interesting one. It's an interspecific hybrid tea rose, meaning that it's from two different species. It's a deep red, double bloom. It's mildly fragrant. It's going to bloom in clusters, and it's going to bloom in flushes throughout the season. And it's really great for cut flowers. It can handle a little bit of shade, which is great because you have a little bit of shade back there. It's been on the market about 20 years and it's very disease resistant, which is good news. All four of the varieties you got are very disease resistant.
Oh, that is good news.
The next rose is Sunny Sky. This is from the Eleganza collection. This is a nice yellow rose. It's a hybrid tea. It's a double rose, meaning that it has more petals than a basic single rose. It's moderately fragrant. It will also bloom in flushes throughout the season. It will also get about 4 feet tall, and it's apparently very resistant to black spot and powdery mildew, which are two of the most common fungal diseases that we see with roses. Your next rose is Iceberg, and Iceberg's kind of a Hall of Fame rose. It was voted world's favorite rose in 1983. It was developed by Cortez in the 1950s, late 50s. Its parentage is a red hybrid musk rose and a white hybrid tea rose. It's usually categorized in the Floribunda group. It's going to bloom in clusters. Moderately fragrant, big blooms, like 2-inch blooms, and it's very disease resistant. So it can get up to 6 feet tall in very hot climates. So I would expect it around 5 feet tall and just about as wide. And then the last rose you got is Carefree Wonder, which is the only one of these roses that I've actually seen before. And it's a fantastic rose, again, developed in the 90s. It has large pink semi-double blooms, about 26 to 30 petals per bloom. It'll bloom in small clusters, kind of continual bloomer rather than blooming in flushes. And that one will actually produce some nice ornamental hips, meaning that after it flowers, the fruit that it will set, the hip, will be attractive in color or size or something like that. So while I recommend kind of deadheading roses as they're blooming, towards the end of the growing season, if you stop deadheading, they'll set hips that will signify to the rose that it has done its job for the season and can begin to go dormant. And then you can enjoy those hips through the winter season.
Oh, good to know.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jim. Lighting a garden is a wonderful way to make it come alive at night and extend our enjoyment of it. Jason Schannebarger with Unique Lighting is here to talk us through the many options available to us in the world of outdoor lighting. Jason, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having us.
I remember probably 25 years ago, the first garden that I put outdoor lighting in and the enormous transformative difference that it made. It went from being this beautiful, well-curated garden to something that was just wow.
Absolutely. The technology has changed. You know, lighting has changed from solar lights to halogen to incandescent LEDs now. Light quality has gotten a lot better on the products we use. And, you know, we're trying to enhance the landscape so people can see at night what they did during the day.
Right, and I think one thing that it does for outdoor spaces is they can be more difficult to use and enjoy, of course, when it's dark. And not only are we able to now extend the use of the outdoor garden with lighting, but we can enjoy and appreciate all the little nuances, all the hard work that we did during the day.
Sure.
And it can be very directed, so we can uplight trees, we can, you know, enhance architectural features, and we can highlight certain plantings, create soft lighting.
Yeah, we try to take a holistic approach when we look at a lighting design and address the functionality, the safety, security, and highlight focal points such as this beautiful fountain here behind us. Highlighting the house or the structure is very important.
Just such a warmth and an elegance that outdoor lighting adds.
Sure.
So if we haven't been paying attention to outdoor lighting for the last 20 years or so, what has happened in the industry? What have I missed?
So again, technology is rapidly changing. You know, everything is addressed with a smartphone now for on-off control. We can do color now. We can change the white balance on the lights, or also known as Kelvin temperature, to highlight evergreen with a little bit cooler temperature. We can introduce some different things and show off natural color of plant material and siding or brick, things like that.
Well, a lot of the new lighting options are significantly more energy efficient too, right?
Absolutely. Average lighting job in this area is about 20 fixtures, and to run those 20 fixtures on an annual basis is about $40 a year.
One thing I noticed that with this install is just the quality of the materials that are being used. It seems like outdoor lighting 30 years ago was a little more rugged and utilitarian, and there were extension cords everywhere, and you know, not super practical, and also not anywhere near as beautiful as some of these fixtures. Let's talk about the materials and the upgrades to the category.
So we have 3 different lines of products. So we have a marine grade aluminum alloy, we have a lightweight brass and copper as a mid grade, and then a cast brass as a premium option. So having those 3 options allows us to meet different price points and also complement the property that we're on.
How have the electronics changed? Because I know that now, you know, everything's gotten smaller and more weather resistant.
Yeah, in halogen days, we would have 900 watt transformers, 1200 watt transformers. Now we're able to do those same jobs with a 300 watt transformer or a 600 watt transformer. So much smaller, much more energy efficient.
Well, that's amazing. So it's changed so much, and I think that now for any homeowner with an outdoor space, with a garden, they absolutely should be looking at outdoor lighting. It changes everything. And also, I think just ornamentally, looking at these fixtures, they have a beauty of their own even when the lights are not illuminated.
Yes.
Each week we travel the country north to south, east to west, visiting some of the most exciting gardens, as well as talking to industry horticulturalists about design principles, new plants, and also how you can be most successful with your home gardens. We also love answering your gardening questions, so visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs. Our goal is to leave you free to just enjoy your garden. Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs can be found at local garden centers across the country.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 80 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
The Jaguar F-Pace.
We've learned quite a bit about selecting the right plant, understanding how to water them correctly, and how to make them shine with outdoor lighting.
If you have questions about anything you've seen today, visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, even if you're a master gardener, there's always more to learn. So join us next week for more great gardening tips and ideas as we garden smart.